Hello, this is Ronald Allen with Managing Change, and today's discussion around change management, organizational change management, will be utilizing Zoom's platform to show you the various features on how we are going to exchange information in the virtual environment with your clients, your customers, and certainly across your enterprise. So organizational change, what does it involve? Well, there are 5 processes that we're going to share with you. There are 3 main reasons why you should engage and value the employees that will be the instrument of the success of that change. And thirdly, we're going to take 3 phases, high-level view of how you would implement the initial stages of a change. And we'll finish up with a mention of a SaaS system that will allow you to pull together the various stakeholder interests, weigh those interests, and then prioritize implementing that change initiative. So let's start off with the whiteboard, which is where we can write down immediately what we think are the components of those 5 principles. So let's take a look. We've got desire to change. This is absolutely crucial. If your employees do not have or are not given the understanding of why a change initiative is being implemented, you're not going to utilize their capital, intellectual capital, and therefore their efforts to solve problems as you're going through the phase, and certainly once it's a handoff to those key employees who will drive the change. Knowledge, that requires knowledge of the change, this process, the processes that need to be put in place, the considerations that need to be put in place. Do you have the knowledge? We also talk about ability. Does an athlete just get on the track and start running or jumping or pole vaulting? Absolutely not. We have to have the ability to change. Do we have the system in place? Do we have systems in place? Do we have the investment or interest of stakeholders and certainly clients who would benefit and possibly even contribute to that change initiative? Are we aware of change, of the need? In many cases, we're still stuck in that status quo environment. These are just 4 of the 5 main areas of the ADKAR model from ProSci, research, and Purveyor of change management methodology. So let's take a look at our presentation sheet here. We're going to share that with you. This is going now to a PDF that we've put in place. And you'll see that on your Zoom sharing image. Number 1, aware. Are you aware of the need to change? 2, desire. Do you desire the need to change? Knowledge. What knowledge will you need to be successful in your endeavors to change? 4, ability. Is this the right time to start such an effort? And 5, reinforcement. What means do you have in place to reward the system and sustain this changed behavior? And when we talk about behavior, we're really talking about people, which leads us to our second component, the significance, the need to support the people side. It's all about people, isn't it? Well, let's take a look. When employees show that there is a lack of quality in their work, that reflects a people side. When the execution of a merger and acquisition of a business culture, that reflects a people side. As systems are implemented and task flows change, that is certainly someone's responsibility, a workflow that needs to have been addressed and considered. When the market demands efficiencies of scale, because perhaps you're producing twice as many, 3 times as many of the service or product that you did before, people must be made aware of and given the training and skills and support so that would be successful. When there is a change in leadership, certainly culture, style, business style, efficiencies, one's values certainly are taken into consideration. All of these are referring to addressing humans' needs, drivers, pulls, their their id, the ego in people. So it is the people side. What are the components here? Why do we need change management? Organizational change happens one person at a time. Ignoring the people side of change is costly. Change management increases the likelihood of success. Each of these are working up to both objective and subjective, quantitative and qualitative components that demand the investment in our people. So let's take a quick poll here. Do a quick poll. We'll stop sharing a moment. And I'm going to go and do a poll and ask you, and I see our poll is not working, but that's okay, because we have the old method, which is in the chat room. I'm going to ask you how many people from your experience realize that those three elements, right? We talked about those three elements, are significant enough that they've been utilized and that people have been brought on board, investments have been made, and that the success has been, let's say, greater than 75%. Enter that information in the chat room here. You can see that on the right-hand side, chat room percentage of companies that utilize these approaches and methods in order to gain a greater percentage of success. And here we're coming back only 40%. Very low, and that is kind of an industry standard. It's very low. So we're losing that opportunity. We're losing that chance to have the assets, people, be involved and making our success. I'm going to take you now to our breakout rooms, where we're going to ask you, when should a firm use change? I'm going to take you now to our breakout rooms. And we only have about 10 people, so I'm going to make 3 breakout rooms, and the Zoom system will assign you automatically. We're going to create them right here. It's showing up on our board, and I'll assign you automatically. And I will even go into the rooms myself, give you about a minute. So we're also going to use another great feature of Zoom, and that is a clock. We're going to go into our apps. We're going to look at our clock, click on the clock, and we're going to give it just 60 seconds, 1 minute. And that starts now. You're already in the rooms, and I will come into the rooms. And when we come back, we'll see exactly the comments of when we feel we should be using a change initiative. Let's take a look. All participants have been invited to join breakout rooms. Excellent. And I will go into a room myself. I am now in room 1 for a couple of seconds. I will leave this room and I will go. And now I'll go into room 3. We're coming into our last 8 seconds. I will close out the timer. That's finished. There you go. Timer is finished. And let's take a look on their individual whiteboards of the comments that they made. And those whiteboards would be shared, right? So now, what is the benefit to have such a process? If you are going through a change initiative, if you are anticipating and planning a change initiative, what would be the benefits for your company? Do you feel and see that need to be guided through a system that can take into consideration all your stakeholder interests and concerns, so that the outcome, you achieve a greater percentage of that strategic objective given the change initiative. So now we're going to look at our panelists. I'm going to also share my screen again. We're going to go in and look at our panelists on the full immersion. This is how powerful. I'm going to stop sharing a moment and go into Immersion View so that you can see that. And we have some creative backgrounds here. And we're going to start. And here I am, full immersion. And we would have 2, 4, 6 panelists sharing their knowledge on the people side and why it's important to embrace the intellectual capital, the perspectives, even if they're adverse. It's very much like risk management. We want to know both the pros and the cons. And they then give us a more eclectic perspective of what to consider when we're going through a change, an organizational change initiative. So this is what your immersion group, these might be people that you utilize to voice the opinions of certain groups, maybe divisions, departments within a company. So that's where you would use this. So now we're going to go back to our shared view of the phases. Remember, we said 5 principles, 3 reasons why you should use and focus on the people side, their intellectual capital that contributes to a greater success, percentage of success. And now the actual phases of that organizational change initiative. Number 1, define success. It's like getting into a taxi and saying, please just drive. You're going to go nowhere. We have to define success. We have to recognize the impact that we are trying to achieve, and we're going to measure that. Establish our approach. What are the steps? What are the assumptions we're going to take? We always have the other component, because as we go through any change initiative, there are going to be results, there are going to be feedback that we haven't considered, and we need to consider those. So we talk about what are we trying to achieve, who has to do their jobs differently and how, therefore we need their input, and what will it take to achieve success? What are the steps? Phase 2, manage the change. We plan and we act. We know that any plan, any dream, any hope is half complete, not even if we don't physically take the steps to act. Track performance. This is a 3-part, prior to where we are now, what we're currently doing, during the change, and then post. And during the change, we want to make sure we take into account scope creep of project management consideration. And of course, post, when we hand off to your employees the processes, the new processes, the systems, and the engagement with clients and certain clients and customers alike, so that they can be successful. That means training, that means support. Adopt the new processes so that they will, in fact, adopt. That means making them, that's why we talk about those 3 stages that are absolutely crucial, that we engage the intellectual capital of your people. So what will we do to prepare, support, and engage people? How are we doing it? And what adjustments do we need to make? And then step 3, sustaining outcomes. Review performance, activate retention and sustainment rewards, and transfer ownership to specific personnel. Now, where are we? Are we done yet? Not sure. What is needed to ensure the change sticks? That's absolutely crucial. Sustainability. Who will assume ownership and sustain outcomes? Absolutely crucial. And this brings us to our last part, where we talk about the alignment optimization process. We can put all of this together, but if we do not weigh the perspectives of our people, give a numbering process or a numbering system to the importance and the order in which we're going to roll out, and make sure they're in line with our corporate strategy, all of this is for naught. So by utilizing Zoom in this way, we're able to engage with our people. We're able to do a full immersion. We go back to our speaker, stop the immersion. and where you're able to have some fun in a rather serious environment that requires us to take into consideration those 5 principles of ADKAR, those 3 main reasons why we need to engage our people, their intellectual capital, their psychological reward of being part of a process that they contribute to, basic psychology. And 3 are we call these the technicals and fundamentals of change, where we talk about reviewing performance, activating sustainability, and transferring ownership. I hope you found this interesting and beneficial. And also, most importantly, you see how Zoom can be used in multiple ways, including, by the way, closed captioning. This is Ronald Allen, Managing Change. Be seeing you